Red Hill Biopharma's oral COVID-19 candidate recently just flopped in a phase 3 study, but there's several other oral COVID antiviral therapies that are in development. So in your view, which companies appear to be the leaders in the race to develop a COVID-19 pill?
Yeah, there's really three pills. Merck and Ridgeback have molnupiravir, and they're expecting data later this year in outpatients, and then for post-exposure prophylaxis in the first half of next year. Pfizer has another drug that goes by the code name PF07321332.
What was that again, Brian?
And the data for that is in outpatients is also expected later this year. And then Roche and Atia have a drug called AT527, a lot easier to say. And that data is in outpatients is also expected later this year. So I think it's a 3-horse race. In theory, maybe all of them work. I think Merck's and Ridgebacks wasn't necessarily designed specifically for the coronavirus that causes COVID-19. I believe Pfizer's was, so maybe it has a slight advantage, but we have to wait and see about the actual data. I think this is a difficult space to invest in, somewhat from obviously the 3-way competition, but also because of the endpoints. A lot of companies have had trouble actually proving that their drugs actually help patients. Do you look at viral levels, or do you look at, does it keep them out of the hospital? And, all those sort of different endpoints can affect your actual outcomes of whether your drug, whether you can prove your drug works. Whether it actually works is a completely different question. It's just whether you can prove your drug works. And so I think that it's a difficult space for investors to invest in. And then, of course, all 3 of those companies are obviously, Merck, Pfizer, and Roche are obviously all really large companies. And so adding one additional drug, even if it has, $1 billion, plus in sales potential, isn't going to necessarily move the needle that much on the revenue side.
Yeah, those are really good points, Brian. I did see that Pfizer is projecting that assuming its phase 3 studies go well, Pfizer has projected that it could file for EUA for its COVID-19 pill perhaps by the end of this year. So this is a story that is probably going to develop more quickly than you might even think because of the EUA path here. I would think that if any of these pills do get authorization, and again, like you said, there's an uphill climb to prove that they actually work. But if they do win authorization or ultimately approval, they could bring in, a big chunk of sales.
Yeah, I think we saw Regeneron did maybe $2 billion in sales to the U.S. government, and that's an infused drug, and these are oral drugs, which are obviously a lot easier to take, and so you could expect that their use might go up, and then also their manufacturing is probably easier, and so I would expect that they could probably make more of it, and that would help them with sales.
Yeah, and I would even see these pills being taken by people who are fully vaccinated too. Because the vaccines aren't 100% effective, and so if there's a post-exposure prophylaxis that has been proven to be effective, then you could see both unvaccinated and vaccinated people taking these pills again if they make it to market.
Yeah, and again, the giving people a pill versus having them sit in an infusion center, if they might be, if they've been exposed, then you're gonna have to take a lot of more precautions to keep them isolated, and so that makes things difficult. Where if you just give them a pill, they can just go take it at their own house, and so I think that makes them a lot more. It makes it a lot more easier in the prophylaxis category as well. But yeah, we'll have to see whether the data pans out there.